Hi everyone, from me, Brent Graham of goodforthegame.co.za. It's time for our Durban July 2025 betting tips show. Now, I must tell you, this show is not just focusing on the Durban July. We've got a separate video for that one, but we're going to run through each and every race on the card. So if you're the type of person like me who wants more than just the July, you want to get involved from races 1 to 12, then this is the show for you. Make no mistake. Let's introduce the panel. First up, I'm going to start with Hilton Hassan this time. He's down in Cape Town, which, looking at his clothing, looks like it's pretty cool as it is up here in Joburg, I must tell you, Hilt. But good to have you on the show. What an exciting day of racing we've got ahead of us on Saturday.
Yeah, one of our most favorite days of the year, Brent. Very excited to be here.
Yeah, looking forward to it. And then we've already done the July show with him, but he, of course, him and his wife have got a share in a Royal Victory who's running in the July. So excitement he's building. He's already told us that he'll probably be in the pub before the race, watch it at home, and then see where he ends up after that. But Chris, you've also spent a lot of time studying this card, and you've come up with a few other bets that we're going to get onto today.
Yeah, we've got 12 races, 11 plus the July, and I think it's a pretty early start. Everybody remember 11:45, quarter to 12, the first race. And for those people that like to play the tote bets, there's a BIPOT 1 starts races 2 to 7. BIPOT 2 starts races 7 to 12. Place accumulator races 3 to 9. Pick 6 races 4 to 9. Big carryover there. Jackpot 1 races 1 to 4. Jackpot 2 races 5 to 8. Jackpot 3 races 9 to 12. And if I get through to race 12, it'll be a miracle.
Right. Well, I'm just going to bring us up very quickly to show people. If you go onto goodforthegame.co.za, and I just want to get the article ready, you'll see that Chris, aside from other content we've got on there on the July, he's actually previewed each and every race with a bet. So if you miss out on anything on the video, you can go there and have a look at that one. But gents, what I want to do for a race 1 is bring up the official race day sponsors betting, Hollywoodbets. And yeah, let's get cracking in the races and see if you guys fancy anything. Chris, I'm going to start with you in race 1. What do you like? Summer Winter, the favorite here at just over 9 to 2.
Didn't really jump out at me, the favorite, Brent. I thought wide open handicap, 1,200 meters. Important to remember we're on the poly track for this race. I think it sets the tone for the day. Some very, very tricky handicaps, and this is certainly one of them. I like number 4, Whirlybird, currently trading at around 8 to 1. Samanga Kamalo, 1,200 meters. Only had one run on the poly track before, but did place. 4th run back from a break. First one being 25th of February. And yeah, Kamalo in form. I thought 8 to 1 was a decent price, and I give it an each way shout.
All right, Hilt, yourself in the opener. You're going to be getting involved this early in the race day?
Well, Brent, I think we need to preface this whole discussion by saying to everybody who's listening, if you don't like the words "shoe another tough race," then this isn't the place for you, because this is literally one of the most difficult cards that I have seen in a long time. Not necessarily quality, but just competitiveness. So anybody who thinks this is going to be a straight line jackpot or pick 6, this is probably not going to happen. First race, I don't have much of a fancy, but it is quite a sentimental race for me, because a couple of years ago, Glenn Cotson and I found a horse at Cloverfly, a Master of My Fate filly. We went and spoke to John Costa, and we managed to secure her when I was still at World Sports Betting. Brought her back, and then went to Warren at the time and said to him, right, we found this filly. We need to come up with a name. And he was adamant, and he said to me, my mom had passed away the year before, and he said, whatever you name it, you need to name it after your mom. And that's where Wings of Josephine got her name from. So
wow, brilliant!
It's quite a sentimental horse, quite a sentimental race. She was very good. Well, she is very good. She had a few shin problems when she was much younger. Seems to have got over those. She does pull a lot in a race, which does cost her quite a bit. But she has had a run on Polly. Polly's obviously perfect for her legs, and if she can settle, then I don't think the 10 to 1 is a bad price value at all, especially with the apprentice on her back.
Excellent. Well, we'll all be looking out for that one. And thanks for sharing that story. Very, very nice to have that in memory of your mom there. Right, let's move on then, Hill, to race number 2. This is at 12:25, the off time. I'm just actually on the Hollywood side, so there'll be a slight delay while I bring up the betting. Well, here we got a horse. I love this name, Pink Pigeon. Part of the Justin Snaith yard is trading there just around about the just over 22 to 10 there. Bevy's Delight second favorite at 11 to 2. Hilt, what are you going to give us in this one?
Yeah, Bridge, you've got to respect the favorite. Sort of done nothing wrong, but the draw 12 young horse. Sorry, let me say, sure, this is another tough race. I got it up. I definitely got a chance, but I kind of think that there's a couple of hard knocking horses that have got chances. Bevy's Delight hasn't done much wrong, ran against much stronger last time. Sort of was outclassed, but form before that was good. Princess Hannah is very interesting. 6 runs on the poly, 5 wins. Gavin Arena's riding, so that's obviously a boom. Is creeping up a bit in the handicap, but definitely a runner. And then a horse further down the board's a Magical View. Does tend to lose ground at the start, which isn't ideal on the poly, but definitely worth including.
Right, Chris, over to you.
Yeah, hard knocking handicappers, plenty of them. The one that I liked, and again, I'm sticking with Kamalo, who's on Whirlybird, my selection in race 1. Number 9, Convocation, 3rd run back from a break. Only had one run on the poly, but won it. I think last time out it ran over 1,000, and the 1,200 I think is the preferred distance. I would say again an each way shout at round about 8 to 1. Similar for me to the first race in terms of my play.
Right, let's move on then to race number 3. Chris, we're going to stay with you on that one. Here we've got the Equator topping the betting boards. And this looks, I haven't looked at the whole card, but I'm guessing this is one of the shortest prices of the day. We got just over 11 to 10 on the Equator, Chris.
Yeah, Brent, when I first looked at this race, the Equator has been brought over from Europe. I think UK. Hilton might know a bit more about it than me, what it did over there. And there's been talking, it was among the entries for the July, but they would have needed a prep run and win in order to get its merit rating up to get a run in the July. Now, this is actually the July consolation. We're going over the same trip, 2,200. So basically, a lot of these that are running here were the ones that just didn't quite make the cut. And the Equator would have been one that would have been nearer towards the cut than some of the others. And when I looked at this on Monday, Brent, it was 14 to 10. And I thought, whoa, horse having its first run in South Africa, 14 to 10, competitive handicap. We've got litigation. Number 6 is a scratching, by the way, just because that's now
because it's in the July now.
Yeah. And then when I looked this morning, it's 11 to 10. Now, my first thought was, what can I beat it with? And I couldn't find anything. So
right.
I decided to go with the talk, if you like, go with the hype, go with the money. But I wouldn't consider it a banker. But I really struggle to find an alternative. So in my preview that's on our Good for the Game website, I did go with the Equator. And yeah, it was one of the races that actually it's a fascinating race, but from a betting point of view, it made less appeal to me than pretty much every other race on the card.
Thanks for that. And interesting, because I never asked it in the July show, but now I understand why you can have a reserve in the July. A horse like Litigation, if it hadn't run in the July, would have run in this race. Because I was thinking to myself, it seems a big effort to get a horse down there just as a reserve. So that makes good sense to me as well. Johnny the Thief, I must say that's a name that jumps off the page. Hilton, are you going to try and beat this favorite, or do you agree with Chris?
Brent, I think Chris has hit the nail on the head. When you've got a horse that's having its first run in South Africa, listen, it campaigned against some very good fields, grade 2s in the UK. his prep run, so to speak, was supposed to be the Jubilee, but he failed his TCO2 test. So this is basically his first run in South Africa. It's over 2200. You can be as good and as fit as possible, but at the end of the day, you need to be racing fit. And if you haven't competed in a race, especially a field of this size, because the UK fields are quite small and the tracks are much wider, he is obviously very good. But am I going to take 11 to 10, 12 to 10, 13 to 10? I don't think so. There's no evidence to suggest that he's as good as this, but unfortunately, no one knows. We haven't been privy to any of the gallops or anything like that. So I'm gonna play to beat him, and I'm going to throw in Field Marshal, who won a feature run, 2 runs back over 2,400 meters. Horses like Magic Verse and Otto Lycan, they both bring decent Cape Town form. There's very little between them. And number 13, a horse called Hujiku, drawn very wide, but definitely improving. And, for the bigger perms at 25 to 1, definitely some value. But I can see why Chris is saying he's going to have to lean towards it, only because there's nothing else in the field. But it's very tough for a UK horse to come out here and win first time out. If he does, well, then he's something decent and definitely worth following.
Certainly, just the fact that he's coming out here from the UK is, I think, going to get a lot of interest. I mean, I personally never knew that, and I'll certainly be watching this race with interest. Now, let's move on to race 4 then, Hilton. Let's bring it up here at Hollywood and see who we got as our ruling favourite. It is King Pelez or Pels. I'm not too sure how that's pronounced. It's just over 3 to 1 ahead of Future Swing and Holding Thumbs, both priced at 4 to 1. Hilt, what you got?
Yeah, this is a marathon, Brent, 3,000 meters. This is a very good pointer towards the Gold Cup at the end of July. Very, very open, as the betting suggests. King Pelez would probably deserve it favorite. He's improving the further they go. So, I mean, over 16, 18, 2,000, but now he's sort of winning over his 2.4s, 2.5s, 2.8s. Distance won't be a problem at all. He's drawn well. The stable is in unbelievable form. Someone gets riding him, obviously. 60 kgs, though, it's difficult. The weight stops trains. And I just think maybe if he's just not quite right on the day, the 60 is going to be his undoing. But saying that, my fancy for the race is Shoot the Rapids. He ran second in this race last year and then followed up with a very narrow second in the Gold Cup. He stayed on really well in his last run over 2,400. He's also carrying 60, but I just kind of think that he's a little bit more hard knocking and that he'll probably be sort of able to carry the 60 more than King Pelez. But like I'm saying, very open race, Holding Thumbs, Future Swing, Nebras. And it's even worth throwing in a horse like Arvini King, who comes in with very low weight of 52.5. If you can get a pinch on the field, he's going to be hard to catch. So definitely one to throw into the sort of bigger perms.
Right. Well, let's go to get Chris's view. And Chris, let me first of all ask you, when was the last time you galloped 3,000 meters?
It won't be Sunday morning.
That's for sure.
Yeah, some time ago, Brent, and then yeah. I'll let you know what I think here. Shoot the Rapids definitely on my radar as well. I can see why Hilton's looking at that one. Just with the conditions of this race, what we do get is a best weighted column. And, Hilton mentioned the 60 kgs and weight stopping trains and things like that. But on ratings, number 12, Future Swing, is well clear on the best weighted column. It comes with a bit of a wealth warning, that said, because last time out, that was also the case when he ran way behind King Pelez, albeit at Scottsville rather than Greyville. And he was actually about 8 to 10 favourite that day. And, looked to have the race at its mercy on ratings. I'm hoping that the switching back to Greyville will actually, mean that he's on a going day. Not that worried about draw 12, given the distance, and I think he'll be dropped out. So although the draws are important in every race, I'm not going to let that put me off. But yeah, he needs to be in the mood, shall we say. And if he is in the mood, I think he could be fairly hard to beat.
Right, let's move on to race 5 then. And this one is taking place at 2:20. It is 1,400 meters, so we're into a shorter distance here, Chris. Another dance for me is just under the 23 to 10 mark there as the favorite. What are you going?
Yeah, good race. We're on to the juvenile races now, Brent. The
Right.
2-year-olds. And interested with this one, we've got like some probably the best 2-year-olds or among the best 2-year-olds from the Western Cape, from Gauteng, from KZN, and from Port Elizabeth. Not all of whom have got form against each other. So difficult. Sean Terry, big race day. He inevitably in the winner's box somewhere along the line, and he's got Green Diamond here, which looks, if it handles gravel, fine. Got to be a big runner. The local horse, Quick Step Gal, almost my first choice, but I got cold feet about this one. I thought this could actually be, this could be a bit more open than what you think. And they're all improving over a different rate of knots. And when they go step up in trip to 1,400, and I decided play it fairly safe. 4 places. I'm going to take 4 places, and I'm going to go with Jordache, Peter Muscat horse. Always takes his best juveniles down to the Cape, and this one did well for him in the Cape. And I can see him being primed to give a big run here. So 4 places for me on Jordache.
Right, 24 to 10, that price there. Let's go to Hilton for his selections on this one.
Yeah, interesting what Chris said about Jordache, because Justin galloped 3 of his horses on gallops when they did the July gallops, and they all raced upside. And out of the 3, Jordache definitely put in the best gallop of the 3. So yeah, absolutely, I think definitely in the mix. The favorite is the talking horse of the race, and it's quite strange because we've never really been in a situation where we're talking about the PE raiders coming down and just sort of sweeping all before them, which they've done with Direct Hit, the Fourie and Griff sort of combination. Cannot fault the form, cannot fault how she's won. My biggest concern is if you go back and look at those races, she gets nervous behind the start every time. Her 4 wins, tough to load, very nervous behind the stalls. If that happens on July Day, it is game over before the gates even open. I mean, this is the difference between racing on a Friday in PE in front of 100 people versus 52,000 people. If she goes down to the start and she's sweating and she's playing up, then I think you can just write her off. Unfortunately, we don't have the benefit of being able to see what's going to happen. If everything goes according to plan, definitely a runner, but I would have to lean towards Green Diamond, who's performed against much better company and has won very, very easily here last year.
Right, so listening to Hilt there, you may want to wait until they go down to the start on this one. And it definitely, I was going to ask you if this was sort of a pick 6 banker, because if you are taking a pick 6, perhaps you need to look for one. But I would say that certainly based on what Hilton said there, I wouldn't be looking at that one as a banker. Hilton, I'm going to stick with you for race 6. This is off at 3 o'clock. This is when the first guests will be arriving at my house for the Durban July. We'll be doing the draw and just generally getting stuck into the afternoon's festivities. Malmesbury Missile, another Smythe horse. This one at 5-2 favorite here, Hilt.
Yeah, definitely coming along the right way, Brent. Even Richard Fourie openly says that he believes he'll be a better 3-year-old, and sort of looking more forward to the Cape season, which Richard's never scared to say, like he said at 8 and 18, this is one of the best 3 horses I've ridden. So I think definitely a runner, but not a banker. A horse like Military Command has found traffic in both his last starts. Big run if thing goes his way. But I have got a value bet. One of my value bet for the day is a horse called Aristocratic, number 4. He's only won a maiden. He's had 1 run, 1 win. He was very, very green the entire race. only got it together in the last 200 meters or so and pulled away. He has an exceptional pedigree, and I have no doubt that the rise to 1400 is going to suit him perfectly. I can see that he's still 10 to 1. Definitely my idea of a value bet in this race, Brent.
Right, aristocratic, Chris?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, only the one run, but couldn't have been more impressive. What a beat, I'm not quite sure, but I just think with it, yeah, those connections, I can see why Hilton's latching onto him. Malmesbury Missile, yeah, definitely. And it reminds me a little bit of cousin Casey when he was a 2-year-old. Different connections. And everything, but just the way that he's gone about his career, you know, starting off over 1,000, you could see always going to be crying out for more. So on penultimate run, a third to Ellen Gantrix, who I think I'm right in saying is the only filly in the race. That was over 1,100, and then last run over 1,400. Beat another nice one of Dean Canamere's by a length. Canamere will have a line where they stand with Aristocratic and the horse that Malmesbury Missile beat last time. But certainly Malmesbury Missile, you know, the 1,400 a big plus. I wouldn't put anybody off. I decided I would go with number 5, Military Command. Might have a little bit to find on a couple of runs, but did excellent start to its career with 3 runs in Cape Town and then 2 runs back in the province, both at Scottsville. Carried in at the 600, carried out and eased in its last race. High Chaparral mare by Fire Away. I would imagine 1,400 won't be a problem. And I think an each way shout, number 5 Military Command, which I think is around 10 to 1, Brent.
Yes, 10 to 1 here at Hollywood at the moment. And just to tell people, bear in mind that these prices are live and they are obviously going to change in the lead up. So if you're watching this on Friday, for example, we're doing this recording on Wednesday, you know, you are going to see some price movements. But at the moment, it is trading at 10 to 1, Chris. So but both of your horses, in fact, are trading at 10. Aristocratic's also 10 to 1.
Right. Yep. Okay. Well, that'll be a nice result there if we're on the right mark with either of those two or both.
Right. Well, let's move on to the big race then, which is, of course, the July at 4 o'clock. Now, we're not going to spend that much time on this. And if you're wondering why, it's because we have got a full July preview up where Hilton and Chris share their views. So just look for that on the YouTube channel or going, well, if not, we'll probably post it on a couple of other channels as well, just to make sure we're covered. Visitors of my rugby show will know, or the viewers of the rugby show will know why. But let's just go through and summarize it, Chris. You, of course, have got an interest in Royal Victory, but just a quick summary of the race from your side and your bet that you're going to be taking.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Brent, we've gone into great detail in this on a dedicated video, and I think we're both aligned in terms of you're either in the 8 on 18 camp and has to be the horse to beat, or you know, but do you really want to take 14 to 10 or whatever? What I did was I took the view I'll play a box trifecta. I put 7 horses in. A full perm costs 210. Any of these can come in the first 3 in any order, and I included Oriental Charm, Madison Valley, On My Honor that Hilt's very keen on, the Real Prince that Southpaw on our forums very keen on, 8 on 18 obviously as the favourite. I did have See It Again, but was scratched. I replaced that with Immediate Edge, and then number 17, our beloved Royal Victory.
Right. So before I go to Hilton on this one, just to speak a little bit about Royal Victory, you did mention in the main show, didn't look that great, not the actual gallop itself, but looked like it wasn't that interested in the gallop. And it's all a bit of a price betting drift from sort of 16s to 25 to 1. Chris, at 25 to 1, you've got Natasha, your wife, has got a share in this. Would you be putting money down at that price? Is that a sort of a value enough price to get you involved in Royal Victory, given it's got a lot to do from the 17 draw?
Yeah, the 17 draw, I think, probably explains the drift as much as the gallop, where he was a little bit stubborn and didn't seem to want to set off for a while. I think we can draw a line through that because his work's been good since. He's had a couple of workouts since. So I think we can just, he's always behaved himself on race day behind the stalls and usually comes out the stalls well. So I think we can draw a line through that. But the draw's a big worry. But I think at 25-1, he's now becoming quite backable to run into the money.
Well, look out for my newsletter. I'll certainly have something on Royal Victory. There's a link to that in the description box below as well. Right, Hilton, the July. Give us your summary.
Not too much different to what Chris said, Brent. 8 on 18, everything goes his way. He'll probably win. But like I said, this is the July. Anything can happen on the big day. A lot of respect for on his cup trial run. And there's a lot of people who are in the Selukwe camp. And all I'm saying is if you're in the Selukwe camp at 16-1, then you have to be in the Royal Victory camp at 25-1. I think he represents the value of the race.
Excellent. Well, looking forward to the July there. And of course, that is going to be part of many a pick six leg as well. Let's move on then to a race, number 8 on the card. And we'll just find it here on Hollywoodbets. This is off at 5 o'clock. And about an hour now until we kick off a rugby test as well at this stage. Double Grand Slam. Hilton is the favourite here at 5-2.
Worthy favourite, Brent. Very, very classy filly. 5-2. It's likely she might even start favourite. Shorter, to be honest. I think there's going to be a lot of money for her. She was very, very unlucky not to win the SA Filly Sprint. I think if you run that race 10 times, she probably would have won 9 of them if she just got a little bit of a clearer toe through instead of all the traffic that she found. She renews her rivalry with Raskova. Obviously, Raskova beat her on Met Day to give the owners their first grade 1. There's not much to choose between them. Raskova obviously moved now to the Terry stable. Spumante Dolce, if she had sort of been drawn between 1 and 5, I would have made a massive. I still do make her a big runner, but probably a massive runner. Fatal Flaw, Pierce Radham has never finished worse than second on her. She ran second. She's had 2 runs over the season. Last season, she finished second behind that really, really good filly Quid Pro Quo. She does like to lead them, and if she can get a soft lead, I think that she represents some good value. And then one that's kind of right down at the bottom of the boards, a filly called VJ's Angel. Very in and out recently. Kind of seems to have lost her form. But she won at Greyville last year, the 2-year-old feature. There's not much between her and Spumante Dolce on recent form. And if she does come back to her best, then 20, what price is she? 20-1. Definitely going to go into
20-1.
Yeah, definitely going to go into the play.
Well, before I bring Chris in, I want to, always look at names as well. Sometimes on these days, we're not the biggest form studiers. What was the name of that bookmaker you started a few years ago there, Hilt?
Black Pearl Betting.
Black Pearl Betting. Look at that horse number 2, White Pearl. I mean, I'm stretching things a bit, but but I actually thought of you the moment I saw that. I remembered Black Pearl, which, if I'm mistaken, is still running. There's someone else. I mean, I know you stepped out of it a long time ago. Is that still in existence? Is it?
Yeah, Sun International actually own the rights to that. I think they run a roulette tournament or some tournament now annually.
Okay.
The Black Pearl roulette tournament, and there's a wine farm called Black Pearl Wines as well.
Okay, no, excellent, man. I just brought back memories. I remember you used to come out with your rugby odds. You were the only one who used to do it on Monday. And, it used to get a lot of interest. But, Chris, let's go now to race 8 for you, 1,600 meters. And Hilton reckons the favourite, very hard to beat you.
Yeah, I think Double Grand Slam a worthy favourite. And wherever Double Grand Slam is, I don't think Raskova will be too far back. They're old rivals, these two. There's plenty of collateral form where one's had the better of the other. And this time Raskova's actually just slightly better drawn, but Double Grand Slam wouldn't have drawn wide enough to put me off. But that said, there might be something here. Again, we're talking luck and running because I'm coming out of gate 14. Asia Pambile. This was also in the sprint race that Hilton referred to with Raskova and Double Grand Slam, who was very unlucky. And Asia Pambile actually comes out quite well. Now, it's sort of forgotten that this horse, this time we're going over a mile, and it it's generally been campaigned over 1,200, even 1,000, and always runs a very, very honest race. 5-year-old mare, Duncan Howells trains. But over distance, this 1,600, 7 runs, 3 wins. Course in distance, 2 runs, 1 win. Now I'm going to need some luck in running from gate 14, but I thought there's a decent chance. I think it ran in this race last year and came 7th, but it was only a couple of lengths behind. And I think that they've had this race in mind as well. Just like many of the trainers is. I don't think it's an afterthought running in this race. It's a great one. And maybe Asia Pambili can be picking a few of them up and running into the first 4.
Right, it's 23-10 for a top 4 finish, just over 16-1 for the win. We're nearing the stage of the race meeting where you're either sitting on your profits and looking to multiply them, or the dreaded chase is looming ahead of you as you try to get out of trouble. I can tell you which one I'm most likely going to be in based on past performance. Race number 9, 1,200 squares. Buffalo Storm Cody. You got to love the name at just over 3-1 ahead of William Robertson at 4s. Chris, take us through this one.
Yeah, cracking sprint, grade 3, 1,200 meters. I'm going to go with Outlaw King and Dean Canamere. Each way, round about 8-1 last time I looked. Well drawn at 5. Last outing at Scottsville, got a bit to find with some of these, but Gravel I think suits better. 1 from 1 over course and distance. I think Gravel's ideal, so that 5 gate is another plus. And the fact it's Canamere, he knows how to lay him out for this. So Outlaw King each way at around 8-1 for me.
Right, Hilton.
Way too open for me, Brent. I wouldn't even know where to start. This is one of the most open races on the card for me, and sometimes you just have to put your hands up and say, I have no opinion.
And this will be the final leg of the Pick 6, Hilton, am I right?
Yeah, correct, Brent. And the last thing you want to do is sort of nail your colours to 2 or 3 horses here if you're going in the Pick 6. It's a 15 million rand.
You want to be wide going into this one.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
100%. Well, we'll move on to race 10 now with Hilton. I mean, I guess the old betting thing as well. We obviously get very excited for July Day, but I know from rugby as well, when there's 30 rugby games or something on the weekend, don't try and win on every single game. It's never going to work. Find your major fancies. Race 10 is taking place at 6:20. And as you can see now, my Wi-Fi has just wiped out. Hopefully I'm back. I think the Wi-Fi went down for a sec there. Hilton Underworld, favorite here at 4-1.
Yeah, good run in the Cup trial. Like I said in the July preview show, that the Cup trial is usually a very, very good pointer towards the July over recent years. The last 2 winners of the Cup trial have come out to win the July. It was a very good run last time. Probably a worthy favorite. But I think Chris and I have been sitting on our hands for a long time waiting for you to get to this race. And we had a chat before the show, and we both went through the card and we said, just which is your bet of the day? And both of us said the same horse in the same race, a horse called Zeitz, number 4. In that same race, behind Underworld, he's 1.5 kgs better off. He finished almost a second faster in the last 400 meters to finish than Underworld did. I think that if at the time of chatting and the betting came out to sort of 7 or 8-1, now I see that Hollywood have got 11-2. Even that is value. I think that he is without a doubt going to start favorite on July Day. I think he's going to be closer to 7-2, 3-1, and I honestly believe that he can reward everybody for that confidence and he can win that race. It's obviously not cut and dried, and there's horses like Get Impressed that have had 2 wins and a third over the course and distance. But I just think Zeitz's last run, the way he finished the weight turnaround with Underworld, that's probably my one and only bet for the day.
Right. Chris, well, you led you in there nicely by telling everyone that you agree, and I think you're going to ratify that.
Yeah, absolutely. And Hilton had picked up on the time factor there, which I hadn't. When I looked at this on Monday, Zeitz was around 7-1 to win. And here we are a couple of days on, I think 11-2. And as Hilton says, there's still some blue sky probably in that price. my thinking was lightly raced, well drawn, gate 4. One run in KZN a month or so ago, which is, it's had a nice gap to recover from that. Was drawn 12 of 12 that day, ran a very respectable race. I think it was the Cup trial. You'd have think he'd come on for that run, 53.5 kgs. I like following this yard and the connections. I think a massive runner, yeah.
Right, so a lot of confidence on that. Sorry, Hilt?
He beat a horse called Garrix in Cape Town a couple of runs ago. He beat him very well. And if the connections had chosen to run Garrix, they've obviously decided that he's going to be a better 4-year-old. They'll send him down to the July as a 4-year-old. If Garrix was in this race, probably be carrying 54, 55 kgs, he would probably be second or third favorite to win the July behind 8 on 18. This horse beat him by 3 lengths or so, going away, and now he's running against horses that are a lot weaker. He's carrying less weight, if I'm not mistaken. For 53, he carried 55 and a half when he beat Garrix by 3 lengths. He's now carrying 53 and a half. He has the right draw, that's stable. They seem to prime their horses. Andre Nel is one of the best conditioners when it comes to big race days. Everything is in his favor. If he is good enough and if things go his way, he can definitely win. In fact, I think he will win.
Well, there's some confident words there from the lads, and there's always a horse like this that comes out. And I can tell you, I am, as I say, I've got a bit of a rubber arm. I'm very easily influenced. There's no doubt about who I'm going to be backing in this one. Zait's all the way to the bank. Let's go on to a race 11 here, Hilton. I'm going to start with you. We penultimate race of the day, 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock kickoff. 7 o'clock start here. Rich Folks Hoax is the 9-2 joint favorite with Dawn Till Dusk. So Hilton, this is another open race, and let's say it up front, a tough one.
Yeah, I think so. I'm going to hospital pass this one to Chris. I have no opinion on this race either. So, sorry, Chris. You can take this one. This is another one that's like the 9th race for me. There's just so many variables, so many horses that look very sort of closely matched. I mean, the betting speaks for itself. 9-2 the field. It's another race where if you're going to take a quartet, you put as many in and hope for the result.
Well, Chris, as I bring you in there, I just want to say this is where you want to be on the Good for the Game forum at this stage as well. And look what the likes of Southpaw, KT and the boys have actually posted, because they got a knack as well of finding some big price winners. And this just strikes you as that type of race where you might find something to really come out and win big. What are you going for?
Yeah, I think that there's so many with chances, wide open handicaps. So I looked down the betting. Philly against the boys, Spirit of Lavana, again, another big day trainer, Glenn Cotson. I'm pretty sure it's Glenn's. Each way around 16-1. And what I like about this, not just the one draw, but I like this kid, JC Botus, who takes 4 kilograms off. And yeah, very, very shrewd yard. Not a bad run out last time on the poly. I thought 16-1 was a fair price, given that the youngsters taking 4 kgs off and it's drawn 1. So each way play for me, Spirit of Lavana.
And that is 5-2 a place. Chris handles a hospital pass there very well. We move on to the final race on the card, race number 12. And Chris is handling the hospital pass a lot better than my wife handling things here. So let's hope the race will come up. But Chris, I've got no doubt you know who's in this race already, so I'm going to get you started on race 12 while we wait for the screen to refresh.
Okay, well, I could be forgiven for saying this is my hospital pass to back to Hilton, but there is one that I quite like, and it's from Royal Victories trainer Nathan Cotson from his yard. Number 11, Rolo the Viking. Only recently joined Nathan's stable and has had a decent enough run on the poly track last time out. I think we're back on the poly for this one. So I don't see that the surface is a problem. Draw 11, not great. Craig Zaki, don't often see him riding for Nathan. Craig's going for the Jockeys Championship. He's one of 3 in the mix. And I thought in another wide open race, Rolo the Viking, as good a chance as any for me. And I'll go with that one to hopefully end the day with a winner. although you might want to go each way.
Yeah, let's hope Nathan's in no state to make the interview because he's so busy celebrating the Royal Victory winners as well there, Chris. Hilton, the hospital pass over to you. Bring us home in the 12th.
Very open as well, Brent. I agree with Chris. This is not another race not to get involved with. Master of the Desert, probably a worthy favourite. Andrew Fortune riding, nice draw. Probably sort of the anchor for your floating trifectas and quartets. But apart from that, you just field up and hope to get a result.
Right. Well, I'm going to go to Chris now and say, Chris, give us your sort of best play on the card. I'm assuming Zaitz is right up there, but maybe then the one that sneaks in behind that.
Well, yeah, Zaitz definitely. And after that, I find it difficult. That's why I've gone with a lot of each way selections and 4 places here and 4 places there, Brent. So let's play around Zaitz and hope that on the right track with the other plays in the other races. But all chips in on Zaitz.
Well, I was busy thinking that, Hilton, if we did more regular racing shows, we'd have to have something to call your sort of best bets. And, Hilton's July Day best bets. I was thinking of this. Hilton's Honeys, how does that ring for you there? Zaitz, number 9. Is race 10 Zaitz there?
Race 9.
Or was it
race
9?
10, correct.
It was 9.
Race 10.
No, it was race 10. Okay, sorry. I took that off the WhatsApp. I'm just going to correct that. But, take us through your best plays.
Yep, in the same camp as Chris. Definitely Zaitz at that price, and we'll definitely be having a small each way go on Aristocratic in the 6th.
Excellent. Well, thanks very much, guys. Thanks a lot for everyone watching the show. Hopefully, right up to the lead up in the July, you can catch some great content on goodforthegame.co.za, including, of course, the Good for the Game forum, where we have guys talking all the way through race day and sharing their bets. Thanks to Chris. Enjoy the racing, Chris, and thanks to Hilton as well. Let's hope Zaitz comes home smoking for us all.
Thanks, Brent. Thanks, Hilton.
Break a leg Saturday, Chris.